you ever try to date someone when you were like in grade 6? I did. And it never really was much of a relationship though. I asked a girl to be my girlfriend and, we would sit together at lunch hour, but otherwise I kind of ignored her. We would sit together in the hall, holding hands, and I would talk to my friends and she would talk to hers, but we would never really talk to each other. The only connection we actually had was literally holding hands. And after a while, that gets old. It wasn't much of a relationship. And it wasn't much of a surprise when we mutually broke up. Or maybe I should say we mutually stopped sitting beside each other. Relationships are weird. We know we want them. We know we need them. But there is always something in us that wants to remain separate as well. On some basic level, right beside our deep desire to be in a relationship is also this aversion to being in one. Or maybe it's more of an aversion to losing focus on ourselves. Because a good relationship is just that, where we focus on the person we love rather than us. This is actually a piece of evidence that says we're meant to be in relationship. And in Ephesians 5, Paul talks about husbands and wives needing to love and submit to each other. And he clarifies that this is how it was designed to be, right from the start. In verse 31, he says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." This is a reference to Genesis, like the first book of the Bible, the creation of man and woman, and what the purpose of marriage was supposed to be. But things have changed, and we seem to be ever in this fight between unity and disunity in our marriage. See, sin has skewed marriage from reflecting the image of God, from reflecting the relationship between God and humanity, to reflecting our own pride. And this has changed our marriage to ones that try to get by on disunity. It's like that superimposed picture, one where you can't really tell what it's about. Like there's a hand here, there's an eye there, and it's all just kind of confusing. It's like each picture is fighting to be in front of the other. This has made us susceptible to either division or dominance in marriage. In God's curse towards humanity after the fall in Genesis 3, it says, "Your desire shall be contrary to your husband, but he shall rule over you." There is this desire in marriage to be divided over issues, over perspectives, over preferences, to be contrary to one another. It's like a team of horses, each with a desire to pull a different direction. Eventually they will break the harness and damage the plow, and the union just comes apart. There's also this desire to be a dominator or the ruler, the usurper of the power in marriage, to reign with an iron fist. What I say goes. To drag the other person along despite their outcries. A horse that pulls the other along with it will tire out quickly. It won't plow in a straight line, and ultimately it will end in ruin. The union will either stop in its tracks or come apart. Both of these desires are products of the same thing: disunity and pride. That's not what marriage is supposed to be. It isn't supposed to be two separate people living separate lives, doing separate things under one roof. It's supposed to be two people as one flesh, reflecting one image. Marriage is supposed to be two becoming one flesh, two completing each other. We are to be in unity with each other. This means walking forward hand in hand, not dragging the other behind you, not trying to go our own way. You know, when you're hand in hand, it means you walk side by side. It means that you see eye to eye. It means that you're in step with each other, and that together you are meeting anything that comes your way. You know, God is to be your family standard. He is the one that actually unites us. He is our family focus, our family mark. It is Him who guides us into His light. It is Him who calls us into His purpose and plan. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will make your paths straight." When we let our pride rule our lives, we learn to lean on our own understanding. And it is there that disunity creeps in, and we either divide or dominate in our marriage. But when we trust in the Lord with all our heart, and we acknowledge Him, our life, our marriage walks in His light, we plow a straight line. The two images start to bear one image, the image of God. And our marriage, it starts to reflect a servanthood, a covenant, a unity that only comes from God. Let God determine where you will go, how you will get there. Let Him determine what you will do when you are there. Seek to serve each other in the light of Christ. Give yourselves to a covenant relationship that is committed to God. And let God transform your lives according to His will. And no matter where God leads you, it is imperative that you go there together as reflectors of God.